The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog because you can get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at Underdog Fantasy with promo code SGPN or promo code MLB SGPN. And welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is currently Wednesday morning, June 18th, around 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm Road Substance Scott Reichel going solo for this pod. Once again, Adam will not be joining me today. He will be back, though, for the next episode on Friday for the prop section before today. Going to be like the Monday episode, going solo. Adam did text me his picks, so we are not going completely in the dark here. Do have his plays that I'll share with all of you, but of course I still have all of the plays that I'm going through for the card as well. So like always, going to be 3 props each. One for, once again, a 3 prop selection for myself and 3 from Adam that I'll be relaying via text message that he ended up sending me. But point is, should be fun getting into the actual card for Wednesday. Looking forward to it. Now, before we get into any of the actual plays that we have for the show, a reminder, they could also find the college football team previews, which are back on the College Experience. Kobe and Moneyline Mac preview every FBS college football team, and you don't want to miss it, so check out the College Experience to get in on the pretty early college football preview because they do cover every single FBS team. So if you want to get interest in, once again, the upcoming season, and you want to get a head start on what should be a pretty entertaining college football season, check out the College Experience for all of the team previews. Anyway, time to move on into the actual props that we have for the show. Starting off with the first prop for Adam. Once again, he did text me his plays. His first prop is going to be a one involving a player that he tends to fade a decent amount. He's going to go to Crochet, and he's going to take the over on Crochet hits allowed at 4.5. Now, a couple reasons why. He's going to go with Crochet. 4.5 hits allowed at minus 103. The Red Sox did get killed yesterday. They lost 8-0, and he should be going distance because they burned a lot of the bullpen. And you're looking at him going over this number in 4 straight road games, 3 of the last 5 where he's had 4 days of rest. I think you're looking at a spot where Crochet should be in a bit of trouble in this outing, at least based on the usage. He's going to have to go distance because they burned a lot of the bullpen yesterday, and after Bueller gave them nothing yesterday, does seem like a decent spot where Crochet is going to have to shove a bit more, or at least try to help reset the bullpen by going distance. So Adam's first play is going to be Crochet over on the 4.5 hits allowed market at minus 103. That is found on Caesars. Now, for my first prop on the show, I'm going to go with another pitcher, but this one I'm going to fade. I'm going to go with a bad pitcher, a guy that has been really bad all season. Give me Erod. I'm going to take his under 17.5 outs at minus 130. So first glance, the line does feel pretty cheap at minus 130, considering the fact that he really never goes over this number. He's had less than 16 outs in 5 of his last 6 starts. He's also been really bad on the road, as he's an ERA of about a 6.91 on the road this season. But so far on the road, he's recorded less than 17 outs in each of his first 6 road starts. So even occasionally, he can be decent at home. We saw that against the Mariners last time out. But on the road, he's been completely useless on a regular basis. And the fact is, he's a pitcher who has been a mess for the majority of the season. Not to mention the fact his actual pitch count is pretty low in each outing. He has thrown less than 82 pitches in 4 straight starts. So Arizona did use this amount of relievers yesterday. Not many pitches for each guy. They also had a day off on Monday. Point is, though, you're looking at a Diamondbacks team that tends to only let Erod go about 80 pitches. And with that being the case, it might be tough for him to get over this 17.5 outs prop while going under that amount of pitches. And I just don't see that happening. Toronto is top 5 in the league in runs per home game. They're also number 7 in the league in OPS against lefties. I think Erod has a bad matchup. I think that Erod's going to struggle in this outing. And I do think that if he ends up getting somewhat shelled by Toronto, and has a couple of decently long innings, not even based on runs allowed, I think Erod's in trouble. I think he might get shelled anyway in terms of runs allowed, but I do think there are a couple of ways for him to actually pitch decently, still have a high pitch count, and for him to go under this outs prop. But simply put, 17.5 just feels like a fundamentally wrong number. When he's gone under this in every road start this season, he's at less than 16.5 of the last 6. He was good his last start. That was it. It's one of the only good starts he's had all year. Feels like a pretty good sell high spot on Erod, who has been really bad for the majority of the season. And Toronto is quite good against lefties, and they're really good at home. Give me the Erod under on his 17.5 outs at minus 130 as my first play for this one. I see a couple people in the comment section, by the way. I see Johnson back. I see Jacob asking for a money line play, which I'll look at in a little bit. I see Keanu stopping by as well. I see a question from Johnson if I have any interest in going for Skubal over strikeouts, Ranger over 5. Yeah, that could be definitely. I think that could definitely be doable. For Skubal against Pittsburgh, he really should dominate in that matchup. I mean, Pittsburgh is a team that we know is not very good. They strike out a ton. They have a couple of, I don't want to say free multiple strikeout legs per game, but O'Neill strikes out so many times that Skubal might have him in some trouble for the course of this outing. You're making an argument for a potential parlay. I'm not against it. I think you could go for Skubal just to have himself a monster game. If Skubal ended up with potentially 9 strikeouts, I wouldn't be shocked either. We know he goes distance. We know that his stuff is nasty, and Pittsburgh does have I would say, an issue when it comes to generating runs. I think Skubal can shove by himself, but for the sake of the matchup itself, Skubal should go over the 6.5. For the actual numbers on Suarez, he should be okay. Looking at his numbers, though, so far this season, he still strikes out less than a guy per inning, struck out 6 in his last start, but 5 might be a bit of a sweat on that one. I do think that Skubal, though, is the safer option out of the two. I think I'd rather just go for Skubal to have a solid outing of 8 or 9 strikeouts and just move on there. That's kind of my thoughts on that. I see a question from Insano. If I saw the Devers comments from the Giants press conference, yeah, I did. I did see that, where he said he's ready to play anywhere. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, the argument that would go in favor of Devers and the reason why he was so, I'd say, hostile towards the Red Sox in general is because of maybe the initial contract extension agreement, where it felt like the previous ownership was willing to let Devers stay at his current position. That's why he signed the extension in the first place. And then after they kind of switched some things up in the front office, the tone changed and they wanted him to learn something new. So I think it was a matter of Devers being sold a false promise at the time, which was the old regime telling him, you'll be the third baseman, don't worry about it, you're fine. And then immediately being told by the same team, because of a different ownership, you're going to have to learn a new position. I think that's what bothered Devers. It might not have been the actual concept of playing first base. I think it was what he was told when he signed the dotted line for the extension in the first place. And then they switched up the actual wording and switched up the requests for him. Do I think Devers should have played a new position anyway? Yes. I think that he should have when you're getting paid that much money. But I think the main issue was how he was sold the idea he would be the permanent third baseman, and then immediately the Red Sox changed their mind about that. And I think that's why Devers got annoyed. So with the Giants, we'll see what position he plays. We'll see what happens there. He'll play third until Chapman potentially comes back. But I do think the issue is mostly involving what he was told when he initially signed the contract and how quickly Boston changed their mind of what position they wanted him to play. I think that's the main difference between what happened in Boston and why now he's willing to play multiple positions in San Francisco. I think that's the main behind the scenes story. But either way, apparently now he's going to play different positions in San Francisco. We'll see how he looks. No, he had a double. He had a couple hits in his first game. They did lose 3-2, but he looked pretty good in his first game there. Moving on, though, to the second play that Adam has for the show. Moving on to the actual prop there for Adam. So I mentioned before he likes Crochet over his outs. He's going to transition over to a pitcher. He's going to go with Framber. He's going to go with Framber Valdez over 7.5 strikeouts at plus 140. Framber's been phenomenal lately, especially based on the strikeouts, and it could be a good matchup as he takes on the A's here on Wednesday. Framber in his last couple outings has been shoving. He's had 23 strikeouts in his last 2 starts. He's had at least 9 strikeouts in 3 straight, and he's had at least 8 strikeouts in 4 of the last 5. So the point is, Framber has been quite good at striking people out lately. We know that he's a solid pitcher. The strikeouts are usually not as, I'd say, noticeable for Framber because he's not afraid to pitch to contact. We saw him have an extreme Maddox about a month ago, as he had a complete game while throwing a grand total of 83 pitches. But the point is, you're looking at a guy who tends to go distance, tends to record a lot of outs, and the strikeouts have been there lately. But 32 strikeouts in the last 3 starts combined, and he's at 8 strikeouts, a plus 140. It's a great price. That's why Adam's going to take it. So he will go with Framber over on the 7.5 strikeouts at plus 140 as his second prop, as once again his option there to win a unit. I see a comment as well from Slimmer about how it seems like the kind of guy that'll love to play DH every day. Devers, I don't think it's against being DH either. Some players, though, kind of like the idea of playing the field because it keeps them physically engaged over the course of the game. And some guys really don't like the feeling of being an only DH guy because you get to sit there on the bench for the entire game, and it might mess up with your actual physical timing. It might mess up with your rhythm. So some guys actually do like to play the field, even if they are really bad at the field, because they like the feeling of being active over the course of the entire game. Some guys are against that. Some guys like it. But the point is, Devers might be a guy that is fine with being DH, but prefers to play the field. Maybe that's also a thing too. But Devers, look, we all know he's a horrible fielder. We all know that he's a terrible third baseman. However, he's a great hitter, and you're paying him that much money. If he wants to play third base and he feels better about being involved per inning in the field, then maybe you let him figure it out a little bit. The third baseman stuff has been really bad, though. Maybe he'll play first. But he might be a guy that can DH, but prefers to actually be mentally involved in the field for the entire game. Some guys are into that too, so something to keep in mind there, Slimmer, even though we all know he should not be fielding in the third base position. He's a terrible defensive third baseman. Anyway, a point is, once again, Adam's second play is going to be on Framber, over 7.5 strikeouts at plus 140 to win a unit. Time to move on into my second prop for the show. Before we get to that, the reminder, they're brought to you by Circa, because you're still doing the Ultimate Fantasy Bowl giveaway, which is a reminder that if you are in a 12-person league, you have a chance to draft in Vegas and legitimate VPs for your stay. Because Circa Resort Casino is still hosting the Ultimate Fantasy Bowl giveaway and experience. So get a limo ride from the airport, 5K tab for stadium swim, hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. You could always get 15% off everything at the Circa properties with promo code SGP15. Enter the contest, though, for free at sportsgame.com for Circa to enter the free contest. We're also brought to you by MyBookie, because MyBookie, they plays for every sport. They have the NBA Finals, they have the baseball cards, they have the UFC, they have golf, you name it. They're also available to no locations. Use crypto for all these payouts. Use deposit Santo for your new account. Use code SGPN. They get a $100 to match up to 1K. Terms and conditions apply with the G promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Finished going through the first couple props for the show. Time to keep it rolling here with my second prop for the Wednesday card. Mentioned Erod before. Going to move on to some hitters here. Going to be fading some guys. I'm going to go with Correa. I'm going to go with his under 1.5 bases at minus 120. He's been quite bad lately. He's at less than 2 bases in 5 straight. He's had less than 2 bases in 5 straight road games. He's also been a lot worse on the road so far this season. He has a 222 batting average and a 258 on base. So Correa's been pretty solid at home, but I do think it's not the best spot for him on the road here. Yes, Cincinnati can be hitter-friendly, but Correa's been struggling on the road constantly. Lodolo's also going to be on the mound for the Reds. Now, Lodolo was not good last start, but before that, he was fine. He's had a pretty solid season, even including the really bad outing last time out. Think that he might be in line to pitch pretty well here, but you're looking at Correa, who has just not been very good on the road, and Lodolo does have good strikeout stuff. But Correa, it's also tougher for his bases because he can't really move that well. He's slow out of the box, doesn't exactly run the bases that well, and I do think he might get a hit in this game. Do I see him getting multiple hits? I do not. I think that is asking a lot out of him, but for a guy that has been really bad on the road, and for a guy that is less than 2 bases in 5 straight and 5 straight road games, I think minus 120 is a good price. I'll fade Correa in this one at minus 120. I think it should be closer to minus 135 or so if I had to price it myself. I think Lodolo, despite a bad outing, has been good for the most part all season. I think he should go pretty well here in this game. So once again, give me Correa under on his 1.5 bases at minus 120 as my second prop for the show. Moving on to the third prop for Adam on the card. He'll be going with Marte. Going to go with Marte under 1.5 total bases at minus 115. To also mention, this is a rhythm power trend. So I'm going to mention rhythm in a second in the ad read. They have power trends now. Rhythm does support this play, as rhythm does like the under on Marte total bases. He's been really bad against lefties so far this season. And you are looking at a spot where he might end up getting himself into a bit of trouble because they're looking at the matchup itself here. And Marte has actually been a mess against lefties this season. Ketel has had a solid season. We know that Ketel can be a bit dangerous, but at the same point, you're looking at Marte's splits, and he has been a lot better against righties than lefties. Against righties, he's batting .319. Against lefties, he's batting .212. So Marte is a switch hitter who's clearly better from one side. And unfortunately for him, Lauer is a lefty. So Marte will be having to use his, I'd say, worst side for a decent amount of plate appearances in this game. But Marte, once again, has been a guy who has been really good from one side. He's not going to be batting from that side, and that's why he's going to go with the under on Marte's total bases here. At 1.5 minus 115, should face Lauer twice. We'll see what happens. But the point is, Marte has really been struggling against lefties. He'll back that. He's going to go with Ketel Marte under 1.5 total base of minus 115 as his final player prop for the show. Now, for my final player prop on the show, I am going to go with another batter that I'll fade. I'll go back to the Tigers and the Pirates game. I know somebody mentioned before a screwball strikeout option. I'll go with Joey Bart. I'll take his under half a hit at minus 105. Bart's been really bad lately. He's had no hits in 5 straight, been quite bad on the road as he has no hits in 11 of his last 13 road games. And of course, Skubal is pitching. Now, Bart this season has been very good against lefties. However, not all lefties are equal, as Skubal is the best pitcher in the league. He's favored to win Cy Young again. He's an absolute monster, and Skubal has been rolling lately for the last couple of months. He's allowed less than 4 hits in 3 of his last 4 starts, while also going 6+ innings in all those outings. Tends to go 7, and Pittsburgh, I think, is going to struggle against him. But Bart is good against lefties, but against Skubal, I think he'll struggle. He's been really bad on the road. He's been bad in general so far this season. But you're looking at a guy who has really been poor on the road, a guy that has no hits in 5 straight. It's minus 105, while also being able to back the best pitcher in the league. I like it. Once again, Skubal has allowed less than 4 hits in 3 of his last 4. And I can fade a guy in bad form on Pittsburgh at minus 105. I'll take that. I do think you're looking at a spot where it's a good opportunity for Bart to struggle in this outing. Give me Joey Bart. He might even get pinch hit for in this game. We'll see. But give me Joey Bart under half a hit at minus 105 as my final play for the show. I see Jacob saying that his book has the under at a larger price. Make sure you're looking up Ketel Marte as opposed to Sterling Marte. So just keep that in mind. Are you looking at Ketel? Because there are a couple of Martes against lefties in the card today. So, Jacob, just make sure you're checking out Ketel instead of Sterling for that actual prop, because that should be around minus 115 for the show. At least I believe it is. I'll check around just quickly to see if that price actually did move heavily. I'm pretty sure it did not, but I can just check for Ketel. Okay, so that's the hits at 250. Total bases, no, it's at 1.5 minus 115. So make sure you're checking out the total bases for Ketel on that one. And it's going to wrap it up for the 6 player props that we have. But of course, Adam does have more. Has a double play that he's going to share with all of you. And he also does have some other props that are worth mentioning. So for the double play, he's going to go back to Tampa, taking Tampa to turn a double play at plus 100. Tampa is a lead at it. They turn more double plays than anybody, or at least they're definitely up there. And you're looking at a good matchup against the Orioles in this one. Think that, once again, it's a pretty cheap price just blindly backing Tampa for a double play almost every game. They do so almost every game, and Bradley does give up some, I'd say, base runners, 68 hits and 33 walks. You might see some guys on base, but Tampa has an elite infield. They do turn a ton of double plays, and even money is a good price. So Adam's double play for the show will be on Tampa to turn a double play at even money on DraftKings. And for the other props that he ends up having, he does have the, looking up the parlay. He has a double play parlay. He has the Angels to turn a double play and the Nationals to turn a double play, and that does pay out at plus 188. He's going to bet that to win a unit. So if you want a double play parlay, the Angels to turn one and the Nationals to turn one, and that pays out a plus 188 for a 2-pick parlay there. Besides that, though, that's all that he has for the bonus prop section. Quickly checking if there's anything else. I don't see anything else. So once again, the 3 props for Adam on the show for players. He's going to go with Crochet on the over 4.5 hits allowed at -103. He's going to go with Framber over 7.5 strikeouts at +140, and he'll go with Ketel Marte under 1.5 total bases at -115. For my 3 plays, I'm going to go with Erod on his under 17.5 outs at -130. I'll go with Correa under 1.5 bases at -120, and Joey Bart under half a hit at -105. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for the actual, once again, props. Time to get into the best bets and the underdog entry. Before we get into that, the reminder, they're brought to you by our sponsor, which is Underdog Fantasy, because they are still going along for the NBA Finals. You can hop in Game 1, chance to win a lot of money and a lot of bonuses, because if you hop in Game 1, the longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus gets. And a reminder, if you sign up for your new account, you code MLB SGPN to get a special pick in the first time that offer up to 1K in bonus credits under fantasy promo code MLB SGPN. We're also brought by Rhythm, because Rhythm has been introducing a brand new feature called Power Trends. Mentioned before that they are and detected patterns where Rhythm's models have consistently won, have a high ROI. They're also updated every day. Exclusive to Rhythm, no touts and noise, just clean data back picks. And a reminder that they do like the Ketel Marte under 1.5 bases for the card today. That is a Rhythm Power Trend in addition to being a play that Adam did like. So if you want to back the Power Trends, check out Ketel Marte under on his 1.5 bases. But a reminder, you can download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, start betting smarter. And a reminder, you can also try it for a week by using the 7-day free trial. Go to sportsgambling.com/rhythm to get in on the free trial. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Finished going through the props for the show. Time to move on into the best bet segment. So for Adam's best bet, he will go with Crochet over the 4.5 hits allowed. We know that Adam has been pretty anti-Crochet, and it's mainly because of the fact he strikes out a ton of guys, but does give up some contact, and 4.5 hits does feel pretty generous at -103. For a guy that might have to go 7 innings. Boston burned a ton of relievers yesterday because Buehler stunk. And the fact is, you're looking at Crochet, who was really good against the Yankees last time out, should go pretty well in this one. But even if he goes well, he should give up some contact. Going through the actual numbers, when 8 1/3 last start against the Yankees, did well in terms of the hits allowed. Before that, though, 6 hits, 5 hits, 5 hits, 5 hits, 7 hits, 7 hits. So he's given up at least 5 hits in 6 of his last 7. And with that being the case, it does feel like 4.5 at -103 is a very good actual price. Also, after throwing 107 pitches, going 8 1/3, will he look a little bit, I'd say, weaker than normal because he had a pretty long start last time out? Maybe. We'll see. Point is, though, for a guy that's allowed at least 5 hits in 6 of the last 7, 4.5 at -103 does feel pretty nice for an actual price at -103. So that'll be Adam's best bet for Crochet over 4.5 hits allowed at -103 as his best bet. For mine, I think I got to go with Erod under 17.5 at -130. I just think it's an insane price. I know Arizona only let Fod go 5 yesterday. The bullpen did get some usage. Not many guys threw a ton of pitches, but Erod's number is just too high. -130 for a guy that's had less than 16 outs in 5 of the last 6. He's gone under this number in every road start this season. Toronto's great against lefties and great at home. Number 4 in the league in runs per home game. Erod at 17.5 is crazy. It should be closer to 16.5. I still like it anyway. Toronto kills lefties. They're great at home. Erod's not very good. Has an ERA of about 7 on the road. It's a bad spot for him. I think that Erod will be in trouble anyway. Give me Erod under on his outs. If that's not available for you, I don't mind the either hits allowed or the earned runs at 2.5. But the outs does feel pretty high. I think if he's in trouble, they will pull him quickly because they have been doing so for the last couple of starts. Give me Erod under 17.5 outs of -130 as my best bet. Now for the underdog entry for the actual show. For this one, we will recycle the Ketel bases. So we'll start off there. Ketel on the lower 1.5 bases. So we'll use that as an option. We will also look at some other guys who could be in some trouble. Thought about going with Ben Rice. I know that Kachanowicz is pitching, who I can't stand. But Rice has been getting benched a lot. They have been using Goldschmidt off the bench a bit more. And Rice, I have been taking his under on runs recently. The question is, do I want to go with it again for this one? The Yankees really can't score. They've scored no runs in, 3 straight games at this point? So I actually don't mind going for a Ben Rice fade. I know the counterpoint is, Cachano, it stinks. That is true. So does Hendricks. And Hendricks gave up no runs, struck out 9 guys yesterday. So I don't mind going for a Yankee fade here. Rice has gotten on base, but I don't mind the runs here for the lower on Ben Rice. I'll go with that. He's had no runs in 7 straight, and I think that it's a good spot for him to once again do nothing. If you're looking at his home numbers, it's been quite bad as well. He has had no runs in 16 of his last 20 home games. I'll go with Ben Rice lower on his half a run scored as well. The Yankees have scored no runs in 3 straight. I think that getting plus money for that's a very good deal. And for the last option, for the underdog entry, looking at anything else I'm tempted by, do I want to go for a higher on a player that might intrigue me here? Do I want to go against Mitchell Parker? Colorado's been pretty good. Do I want to go for that? Garcia higher half a base. I can go for that as well. Let me just see quickly who's pitching for Kansas City, just as a reminder here. I think it's Lugo. Let me just confirm, though, that is who's going for this one. No, it's Bubic, actually, who's been very good so far this season. Has he been good against Adolis? Adolis is 1 for 5 against him. I don't know if I'm that into it, but I can just quickly check his splits against lefties. Oh, he's really bad against lefties. That's a pass on Adolis there. You know what? I'll fade the Nationals pitching staff. Parker has not been very good. Colorado, though, offensively has been pretty good recently in this series. I'll go for the fade of Mitchell Parker. So once again, the options here for the underdog entry, going to go with the Mitchell Parker higher, 2.5 earned runs. Going to go with Ben Rice lower, half a run scored, and I'll go with Marte on the lower 1.5 total bases. That's going to wrap it up, though, for the show. Back once again on Friday. Adam will be back for the Friday show. So I'll not be going solo for the next episode. Until next time, find me on Twitter, Reichel Radio. Find him on Twitter at Hey Rosenberg. And once again, good luck to all of you and all of your